coming up, we have a new Mummy movie coming out this year, and it doesn't star Brendan Fraser. Stay tuned as we break down the trailer for Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Welcome to the Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. I am your host, Arturo Padilla, and with me always is Mr. Nick Valdez. Before we get started, though, do not forget to subscribe down below, hit the thumbs up, and hit that bell. That way you know when these videos are dropping. Tex, how are you today, buddy?
Howdy, everybody. Howdy, Arturo. Man, so we've got a lot to talk about today. Lee Cronin has been working on a new version of The Mummy, and we finally got the first look at this new thing. And Lee Cronin, who previously has done Evil Dead Rise, was it? It was last year, right? Like that's how far it feels like for me.
No, it was 2024. No, I think.
Okay. So it was 2024.
Yeah, I think it was 2024.
So yeah, now he's back with his own version of The Mummy, and I don't know how I'm feeling about this. Like I think it looks cool, but also it's like I still have the image of the Tom Cruise Mummy. It's still like I don't know. How are you feeling, Arturo? What do you think so far?
I never watched that Tom Cruise one. And from everything I've heard, I shouldn't even bother. So I'm going to stick with that. But in terms of this new iteration, Lee Cronin is a director that I've had on my radar since he debuted Hole in the Ground back in 2019. Yeah. And I was very happy that he got the gig to direct an Evil Dead movie. And I think he did a pretty nice job with Evil Dead Rise. In this one, I'm pretty interested in this one. My interest is super peaked, and I am kind of excited. This trailer is creepy. It's spooky. It has some very good horror imagery there. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you see this picture right now on your screen is part of the trailer as Katie. Katie is the little girl on this picture. She is the one that's going to be supposedly the mummy. And everything we've seen in this trailer kind of goes with Lee Cronin's vibe. He does very atmospheric horror, very deep, intense, slow horror too. And I think we might be getting a slow burn on this one, Tex. I, for one, huge fan of the early iterations of the Brendan Fraser mummy movies, which were all action-packed, right? It wasn't slowing down the pace in order to show you horror moments and stuff like that. It was all action all the time. And this is why those movies work so well, because you had a great cast and a lot of action. So the movie that we're getting with Cronin looks completely opposite. It looks like a slow burn, a horror. And the movie with Tom Cruise, like, I don't even know what that was. But from what I understand and from what people told me, that it was just a hot mess that shouldn't never even have seen the light of day.
Yeah, it got stuck within Universal's whole like dark universe plan that they were trying to do. They were trying to do their whole Avengers kind of team up movie, and they started with Tom Cruise's The Mummy, and Tom Cruise was going to be like a central figure in this version of the Avengers, basically. Like they were trying to be Marvel, but after this movie bombed so spectacularly, they shelved the entire thing. So it's kind of like, yo, that's the last impression of the Mummy that we're bringing into this. And I think you're right, Arturo, where it's not like the Brendan Fraser movies where it's high octane action, but it's also not like the dark universe version of the Mummy that fans are going to be thinking about. And that's probably the best move, right? To do a slow burn type of monster movie compared to like I don't even know, like something more action focused.
It's not Van Helsing, right?
Right.
So one thing I am a little concerned about is these Universal properties, right? We got Invisible Man back pretty much before the pandemic hit, right? And Lee Whannell did a great job with that movie, and they gave him permission to do Wolfman, and that was just garbage. Honestly, it wasn't good. And now we have another Universal property here with the Mummy, and I am hoping it does capture the success of Lee Whannell's The Invisible Man, because that was just excellent.
Yeah,
But
and
I am curious to see where Cronin does take this in terms of tone, right, Tex?
right, yeah, because there's an appetite for these slower movies now. That's the thing. Like, look at Nosferatu, right? Like,
Good point.
Nosferatu is a very slow burn of a horror movie, but but it was also incredibly successful in the theaters, right? So it's like there is an appetite for, and then look at Frankenstein, right? Like look at that Universal monster movie release, right?
Yep.
That's also a slow burn epic told over 2.5 hours, but also you're like, yo, it it worked for what it is. And I think this is already heading in a good direction of like,
Agreed.
go slow, right? Go slow, go epic, go take your time with it. And ultimately, I think that will better serve the mummy. Like the mummy, like from the very first incarnation, has been a very slow kind of monster too, right? Like I think
I mean, he walks slow, he talks slow.
yeah,
It's just a
it,
slow character in general because of the makeup of the anatomy. It's a dead,
yes,
mummified thing that comes back to life.
yes,
And that is exactly what Tex is getting at. That I think the trailer is putting out exactly what we need from this property right now. We didn't
yeah,
need another Scorpion King. You know what I mean?
yeah,
We do have talks of that down the line. We'll get to that in a little bit, folks. But back to Lee Cronin's Mummy here. He is definitely taking that
yeah,
low and slow approach. Like you're making a fine soup. You know what I mean? And I have some faith in this because the director has put out two very different horror projects and two
right.
very different horror subgenres too. And I think it's been super successful for him. I'm hoping this third one is also going to be up to par with his previous work. That said, folks, that said, there's been some talks on the interwebs about
Right.
one Mr. Brendan Fraser returning to the franchise. And Tex, can you give us a little bit more insight on this?
Yeah, so word is that Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz are coming back for a new version of The Mummy, which would be a new version of their classic. I mean, I think they did. There's four of them technically, right? Like,
Is it
I
four?
know.
Three? I thought Dragon Emperor was the third. Was the final one, right?
Oh, I think it was three. See,
Yeah, because
even
it's
I'm
Mummy,
like,
Mummy
yes,
Returns, and then Dragon Emperor with Jet Li, which was not my favorite at all, and I don't recall that one as best as the first two. But I think at that point in time, they were trying to take advantage of Jet Li's, fame, especially in the action world. And they're like, oh, we got to get Jet Li in here, but it didn't really work out as well as they planned, in my opinion. It's not my favorite one, but that said, Tex, the Mummy and the Mummy Returns, freaking classics, dude.
yeah, they're good
Classics.
movies. Like they're,
RKOs out of nowhere because no dude, I walked into Returns, I'm like, "Okay, cool." I walked out like, "Oh my god, this was
yeah.
cinema, folks. Cinema."
It was dope because I saw Mummy Returns at the drive-in, so it was even like an even on top of a peak experience, another peak experience. You know what I mean? So it's
That's
like it,
awesome.
yeah, in my memory, like the Mummy Returns, a very like holds a very special place in my heart because I remember hearing the audio through the radio and stuff like that.
Oh,
Like
that's so
it's
cool.
yeah, like it's a full-on drive-in movie for me, and it was also just a great movie. And the first one I remember like liking okay. I was a kid, but my kid brain didn't really attach to it. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is fine. Like it's a cool movie. But Mummy Returns, I was like, yo, this is a full-on adventure. Like I was
Yes.
like I was on for a ride. And like those movies in general, like with Brendan Fraser too as the anchor, it's kind of like, man, like he just had that power, like I'm glad
Yes.
he's been able to come back too and like all these other roles. Like just shout out Rental Family real quick, small tangent, great movie.
Oh,
Saw it
nice. I wanna
last
see
year.
that. It looks great.
Yeah, it's a great like open and close kind of drama movie that like there are some ebbs and flows, and it's just like a solid like slice of life movie. It's good, good, and Brendan Fraser's great in it. And this is all part of like a little renaissance for him because he was in Scorsese's last movie, Killers of the Flower Moon, and he's great there. He's like a cartoonish Southern attorney, and
Mm.
it's like, yo, he's great. And this is the thing, like he's always had that leading man energy. So like the fact that he like is coming back for another one. I think like he spoke about it in an interview. I think he said he would, but it kind of denied it. So like we'll see. But
We'll
also,
see what
you know,
happens.
yeah, like that's the thing.
But you know
Like
what though? But you know what though,
he's
Tex?
down
Like,
for it.
Yes, he is down for it, but this being another Mummy property,
Yeah,
is this gonna conflict studio-wise in terms of, like, their overall big picture
that's
plans
true.
for this, you know? That's my only concern with that. It's like, okay, you can have, another Brendan Fraser one, but you're already releasing Cronin's Mummy this year.
Right,
Are you
right.
really gonna do this all over again in a couple of years with Fraser and Rachel Weisz? That's if they're down for that, you know?
And it's kind of like what Warner Brothers is doing with Batman, right? Like just as a quick comparison, you're having the Batman, right? So
Mhm.
like Cronin's Mummy, like it's on that par of like, oh, okay, it's completely tonally different. But then every now and again, we're going to have the official James Gunn Batman version.
Mhm.
And that's, I think they're just going to rotate. I think that might be the plan here. If that's the case, like we'll get this one. And also maybe that's just maybe it's a one shot. Maybe they're back to doing like, how Wolfman was just kind of like a self-contained kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe
Thank God
maybe they're just,
thank God for that, because that
yeah,
doesn't need to touch anything else. Keep
yeah,
that out
and
of here.
maybe they're just doing one shots, right? Maybe they're just letting these movies be self-contained movies, right?
Yeah.
Like we can only hope. And maybe and so maybe on the other hand, they're also like, while we're doing whatever, we can have a franchise and Brendan Fraser's back. And
And you know what, too, Tex? Like, that's a great point you're making because there's audiences for both movies, right? There's the
right,
audience that wants to see the slow burn of a horror movie that Cronin's providing, and there's this audience as well that wants to see the action-packed Mummy franchise return to its glory, right? With older actors, and probably you're gonna have somebody be the lead. Their kid is probably gonna be the protagonist, being that he's gonna take over a lot of the franchise most likely, and Fraser's gonna be that support at that mentor kind of role. But you're absolutely right, Tex. It's a possibility to have both. Is it feasible for the studios? I don't know. I know we here at the Morgue, we're the audience for both movies too.
yeah, I
So
mean, we're gonna
I'd
see
like to
him.
see both iterations out there because why not? You know what I mean? Like, why not? Just make the movie. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter that it has to tie into that, tie into that. If you're able to make two mummies, why not make them if they're completely different? Because the,
Yeah,
the
just
vibe for Returns and the original one and the Dragon Emperor are completely different from the 2-minute teaser trailer we saw from Cronin's version, right?
yeah,
So there is a world where both can live in the same space, but will the studio go out of their way to do that? Will Brendan Fraser be up for it? Will Rachel Weisz be up for it? What story can they tell that will get them back into the fold, right? That's the
right.
only thing we have to think about.
No, I completely agree because there's space. There's space for all of this, especially for Universal, where they Universal's looking for franchises. Like they're that's why they're doing like another How to Train Your Dragon and get rid
Mm,
of all that stuff. Like they're looking for franchises, and they realize they still have one in Brendan Fraser, and this is the perfect time to bring it back. But at the same time, they're just going to do a mummy movie, and if Cronin is successful with this one, maybe they'll let him do another mummy movie, or
yeah.
maybe they'll let him do a different monster. Maybe he'll do like Creature of the Black Lagoon
I was
next.
just gonna say that we need another Creature from the Black Lagoon movie ASAP. I haven't seen that
Yeah,
remake ever done. It's only been done in like B movie status kind of stuff, and that would be a fun one to actually make, man. But you're
yeah,
absolutely right, Tex. It's gonna be curious to see, but the only way we can really tell, and the only way we'll know is when this movie comes out on April 17th. Then and only then will we know if we'll be seeing Brendan Fraser in a year or two. You know what I mean?
yeah. You're right, because this might bomb to the point where once again they're like, all right, back to the drawing board with everything. Because that's what they did with like the Dark Universe bombed so hard. They're like, all right, they
They
packed
had
it up and
plans
they
for that thing
left.
too. Oh my
Yeah,
god, they had like
they
they
did that
wanted
whole
Cruise to
image.
be. Yeah, dude. Oh, yes, remember that? They had the
Remember?
whole like
Yes,
lineup.
they had the photo shoot of like, and looking back on it, it's so wild because it was him, it was Johnny Depp. It was such
That's
a
right.
wild kind of
No,
lineup
wasn't
for it.
Johnny Depp gonna be like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, it
Right?
was either that or Invisible Man. Like it was really like it was this whole
Crazy.
thing of they were gonna make all these movies and tie them all in together, and the Mummy bombed so hard that they just could not do it. They could not do it. And here we are. with a new version of Invisible Man. Here we are with Wolfman, because the monster movies freed up after the Dark Universe exploded. So
Yeah,
here we
yeah,
are
yeah, dude.
with a new
The
version of the
fucking
Mummy.
pandemic just cleaned the slate away for
Yeah.
Universal. They were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this just happened. It saved us from like complete disaster. Let's just erase this and forget this ever happened." And this is what they're
Yes.
doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so wild. Like it's so funny looking back on it. And here we are again. And we'll see if that's the thing. Like maybe these are just gonna be movies and they're gonna see whether they're good or not and then move on to the next one.
Mhm.
Maybe they've still haven't done a new Dracula. I know we had like a Nosferatu, but
Well, there
we haven't
is
got like
a well, Luc Besson actually, the director of Fifth Element, is he did do a version of Dracula called A Love Story, and it comes out in February, actually, next month.
okay.
It came out in Europe before, but I've been waiting for it to come out in theaters here so I can properly watch it. And it's Luc Besson. It has the actor from Antiviral. His name is Caleb Landry Jones. His face is very unforgettable. If you see his face, you're like, oh, it's that guy. So he actually plays a
Okay.
version of Dracula. And my wife has seen it because her Instagram and her socials are all full of that, like Dracula love story. People are in love with this movie, so I cannot wait to see it. And
Really?
Luc Besson is quite the interesting director. He's a hit or miss, honestly.
Yeah.
Luc Besson,
Yeah.
huge hit or miss. He's very, very artistic, and his artistry usually kind of takes him over the top to the negative side of things, unfortunately. But I'm excited about this Dracula because it's different. It's completely a romantic side of the story, and we'll see what that iteration of Dracula has. But as Tex was mentioning before with the Universal monsters, we got Nosferatu, but we haven't really had a Dracula per se in a long,
Yeah.
long time. Probably the early 2000s when all those horror movies came out, right?
What
The
was it?
Dracula
The
movies.
last the last
Oh,
official one, Dracula
was Luke.
Untold.
Yes, Luke
Yes.
Evans. Luke Evans
Yes.
movie, which actually was not that bad.
Dude,
I saw it. I was like, oh,
Dracula Untold is so wild because it came out as like the start of a universe
yes.
before the Dark Universe was official.
Hmm.
Like, and then so the Dark Universe wiped out Dracula Untold and all of its setup. But then they were like, okay, well, maybe we'll count Dracula in this because Dracula wasn't in the Dark Universe lineup. So they
Yeah.
were like, oh, maybe we'll fold it in. Point is, like, for what it was, like, you're right. Like, it's not bad, dude. Like, it's
Right,
it's a
dude.
fun little.
I
Like,
I didn't see it in
it's
theaters. I saw it after the fact, right? Because I heard things, and I'm
same
like, it,
here.
it didn't look that great when I saw the trailer. So I was like, whatever, I'll skip it. But then I saw it, and I was like, oh shit, this is
Yeah,
actually a watchable movie. It's pretty good.
it's a total couch watch. Like, it's legit. Just watch it on your couch and like, yo, it's fine. Like, it's a good movie.
It's
Like,
fine. Yeah.
it's it's not like Van Helsing level, but like it's kind of in that same vibe of like
Van Helsing
Van
was
Helsing.
another fun one too, bro.
Yeah, Van
Like I
Helsing's
saw it for the
a
first time
great
a couple of
couch
years ago,
watch. Yeah,
and I was just surprised. First of all, I was surprised how long it was. I was also
yeah,
surprised how much action it had throughout the entire movie. But again, just to wrap up this whole conversation, folks, Lee Cronin's The Mummy looks like a slow burn of a horror movie. I'm
yeah,
calling that right now based on my previous experience with Lee Cronin's work. It's gonna be low and slow. Evil Dead was just Evil Dead. You can't escape that. You can't escape
right.
the Deadite stuff. But Cronin, he excels in these slow burns. Just go watch Hole in the Ground. One of my favorite horror movies from back in 2017, I believe it was released or something. But very
Yeah,
good movie. I'm stoked about this one because I'm excited about the talent behind the camera. I just hope
yeah.
it all works out for us here. And the only way you guys will find out is if you stay tuned. All right. So don't forget, you can catch all these episodes of The Morgue anywhere you get your podcasts and your YouTube videos. I am Arturo Padilla, your host, and with me always is Mr. Nick Valdez. This has been The Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. A big shout out goes to all of you buddies out there listening. We see you guys listening. We appreciate you guys watching, and we are here for you. We're here 3 times a week for you guys. Expect videos to drop Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We're trying to get this to you guys because I know you guys are looking for this content out there. We see the response, and we are here for you guys. So please do not forget to check us out wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, of course. And always remember, it is a scary world out there, but we are here to walk you through it.